The Avro Lancaster, or the Lanc, was a British World War bomber designed by Avro. The Lancaster was highly respected by soldiers and civilians alike. But what did it mean to the men and women who worked by them, the soldiers that fought in them? To understand why the Lancaster is such a beloved warbird, the functionality of the plane and innovation behind it must be revealed. Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum has a wealth of resources and knowledge. The love for the Lanc is also shared by this man, Frank Creamer.
The Avro Lancaster was the supreme night bomber of World War II. No other Allied bomber during World War II had a greater bomb load capacity than the Avro Lancaster. This airplane was capable of carrying up to 22,000 pounds of bombs.
The Lanc was known for dropping the Grand Slam. This was one bomb weighing 22,000 pounds and had a blast yield of 6.5 tons of TNT. However, the Lanc at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum never dropped a single bomb.
Our Lancaster rolled off the assembly line at the Victory Airplane Company in July of 1945. The war in Europe had already ended, so our Lancaster never saw service during World War II. It was put in storage and then later reactivated as a search and rescue aircraft flying out of Greenwood, Nova Scotia, and later Torbay, Newfoundland.
To date, there are only two flying Avro Lancasters. The Lanc at Canadian Warplane Heritage is known as the Mynarski Memorial Lancaster.
On the side of the Lancaster is a picture of the Victoria Cross, which is the highest medal awarded by the British Empire for bravery and valor. During World War II, a total of 19 men in Bomber Command alone won the Victoria Cross. And of that 19, 9 won the VC Flying Avro Lancasters. And of that 9, 2 Canadians, Ian Bazalgette and Andrew Mynarski.
Andrew Mynarski was the mid-upper gunner of a Lancaster aircraft. July 12, 1944, he was shot down. Trying to free his rear gunner from his turret, he received massive burns. The gunner saw that there was little hope and told Mynarski to jump. Mynarski landed safely but died from his burns. However, his plane crash-landed, and due to his efforts, the gunner was saved. This earned him the Victoria Cross. Ken Lenz is another veteran that jumped from the Lancaster. In his war days, Ken had become acquainted with Edwin Swales, another Victoria Cross winner.
His plane was badly damaged crossing the channel. He got as far as England when he told his crew to bail out. He couldn't hold it much longer, but they were now over land, so he knew they'd be all right. He took his plane then into a country area and crash landed it. He had lost all hydraulics and everything else, so he tried to fly himself into a haystack, to tell you the truth, but it still killed him. It was solid enough that it killed him. But for saving all his crew's life, he was awarded the VC.
Ken was on his last mission before leave.
Well, we were approaching a target in the north end of the Ruhr Valley, a town called Castrop-Rauxel, and it was a synthetic oil plant. The idea being, of course, to knock it out. We were running up to the target with the bomb doors open. Our bomb load was half and half flares and half bombs.
Then the mission took a turn for the worse.
In case the target was there, and all of a sudden we were hit with flak.
A surveillance plane took this photo. This is Ken's plane in a death spiral with only one wing.
The Irving Chute Company, the Irving people made these. They issued everybody that ever had their life saved by a parachute. If you applied, they'd give you this caterpillar, you know, the caterpillar from which we get the silk. The girls in the parachute section always told us if it didn't open, bring it back, and they'd give us a new one. Of course, macabre sense of humor, that's what that is. The Lanc is an admirable plane. It would carry more weight than the B-17s, the big bombers the Americans used, and it would fly higher and faster than them. So you just can't say enough about the Lanc. It was just a marvelous aircraft.
Even after this horrific experience, Ken boarded the Lancaster 62 years later for one last flight.